countdown to retirement. These are some of the most exciting meetings that I do in my career. Retirement has been months or years in the planning, and I have a meeting with a client before they give notice at their job to go through a checklist of things that they need to do before they retire. What is on that checklist? Stay with me. Okay, first things first, and this is important for someone who is about to retire, but is also important for people who are decades away for retirement. We make sure that they have gone through their retirement accounts, whether it's a 401k, 403b, or IRA, and they have beneficiaries listed on their retirement accounts. Sometimes it slips through the cracks. Sometimes people forget to change their beneficiaries, but I have had a few sad cases where people have retired or been very close to retirement and have died unexpectedly. And if there is not a beneficiary listed, then it has to go through court probate, which can take valuable time and valuable money. So whether you're going to retire tomorrow or you're not going to retire for the next few decades, after you watch this video, go today to all of your retirement accounts and make sure your beneficiary information is up to date and reflective of your current life. So second thing that I advise people to do, and this is a really important one. A lot of people won't do it, but it is necessary. Have a meeting with your financial advisor and have a meeting with your accountant. This is to make sure your retirement plan is still on pathway. And this is also to understand how retirement will change your taxes. I have had clients who've been in situations where it made more sense to retire in December of one year than in March of the next year for tax purposes. Or I have had clients who have experienced situations where they derived great benefit from learning of some important tax information before they pulled the trigger and put in their notice for retirement. Financial advisors, the client's usually sitting in the office with me, but so many Americans don't hire financial advisors. And I understand it's difficult finding someone that you know, like, and trust to handle your money. But I find it's a big mistake. And people tell me, oh, I did the calculator online and they said retirement would be fine. I've seen those calculators online and they're insufficient. They're not complete. They're not as robust as the software that a financial advisor or a certified financial planner will have. And they often don't accurately capture the possibility of long-term care events or emergencies. So online self-planning is fine, but at a certain point, I really do advise you to bring in a financial professional, an accountant, a financial advisor, so that you can take the next step in planning for your retirement. Now, this shouldn't necessarily be done a week before retirement. Honestly, the longer in advance that you can work with a financial planner, the tighter your retirement plan is going to be. If someone comes to my office and becomes a client 2 decades before retirement, there's a million things we can do to really give them the retirement that they want. If they come in 2 months before they put in their notice, there's just very little opportunity to correct flaws or potential issues with their retirement plan. So one thing I would tell you and one thing I would tell a client is that you need to see an advisor and you need to see an accountant well in advance of putting in your notice for retirement. Number 3, your debts are paid in full or almost paid in full. This is always a great sign for clients if their home is paid off or very near being paid off. They don't have any car debts. They don't owe any credit cards. They don't owe student loans. They don't owe anybody anything. Sometimes for the very first time in life, they don't owe anyone anything. And it's a really good and empowering feeling that they are going into the next phase of their lives paid in full and their debts are completely done. So one thing that we look for in the retirement checklist before people put in their notice is that they have paid everything in full, or we come up with a timeline of when things will be paid in full. Now, if somebody has a year left to their mortgage, I don't mind them retiring. If somebody has 15 years left to a very expensive mortgage, that's a whole different conversation. So one of the conversations on the checklist is debt and is everything paid in full or close to being paid in full. Next is health insurance. So I do have some clients who have the good fortune of being able to retire in their early 60s or even late 50s. And one question that comes up that people often really forget about and don't reflect on is health insurance. People in America, many of our health insurance policies are tied to work. Once you stop working, you no longer have health insurance. You're not eligible for Medicare until you are 65. And if you are retiring, like let's say at 59, you have to cover through your own individual means some very expensive health insurance between 59 and 65. Also, people don't think about this, but we lose vision and dental as well. I have a client who wanted to retire in the middle of a very expensive dental process that his dental insurance was covering. And, we came to the conclusion that he shouldn't retire until that whole dental process was complete. So sometimes health insurance, once we have the conversation about health insurance, the person decides they can work a little bit longer, or we come up with a viable solution to provide health insurance for them and budget that in between the ages of 59 and 65 until they are eligible for Medicare. Next, a date approximately is selected for your retirement. When I talk to people about retirement and they're in the home stretch, they're a few months to a few weeks away, oftentimes they haven't selected the date, and that surprises me a little bit. I would have the date selected like a year in advance, and I'd have it circled in green with arrows pointing to it. I would know the date that I want to depart. And oftentimes clients don't know that. And so we have to go through the calendar year and see when is the most advantageous moment in the calendar year to put in their notice of retirement. For example, if bonuses come out at the end of the first quarter in, let's say, the middle of March, you're not going to retire in January. You're going to suck it up for 3 or 4 months until you get that annual bonus and then put in your notice of retirement. Sometimes, especially for very highly skilled employees or very high level employees, it can be really tricky because they can't give 2 weeks or a month's notice before retirement. They often have to give a year or more notice for retirement because finding the individual that will replace them will take a lot of time and money. And the organization really does need a lot of advance notice that they are planning to retire. So it's worth a conversation with a financial advisor or financial planner to discuss exactly when you're going to retire, to map out your calendar year of working and figure out when the most advantageous moment is for you to leave that job. Also, if you are a high level or you are a highly skilled employee that is very difficult to replace, you need to have a realistic expectation of how much notice you need to give that you are retiring and departing your job. And how do you get that information? You can look at colleagues. You can look at people in other organizations that hold similar positions that have retired. LinkedIn sometimes is a wealth of information. So it may require some research on your part exactly how much notice that you want to give, but oftentimes you're going to have to give longer than 2 weeks or even 1 month notice if you are high level or if you have highly specialized work. Next thing, this is an important one. We talked about glasses and dental and medical appointments. If you are going to retire and you have a date, you want to get your glasses, your medical, and your dental set before you retire and before you lose that coverage. I do have clients with Medicare. I think glasses and dental are Part C. Part C can be quite pricey, and I have a lot of clients who don't choose Part C. So that means that your glasses and your dental are going to have to come out of pocket, and that can be a mighty big wallop, especially if you have to do 2 dental cleanings a year and you have progressive lenses and you need to have your eyes checked and all of this, that, and the third. So, on your way out, while you have those benefits, you're going to schedule all your medical screenings, you're going to schedule your dental cleaning, and you're going to schedule your eye screening and your glasses and everything like that before you give notice. If you have a spouse or a partner who are also on your medical plan, you're going to get them into the dentist, the optometrist, and all the medical appointments before you go off that medical plan. So there you have it. This is part 1. If you like this video, I'll do a part 2 because there's a few other things that we add to the checklist for retirement. So if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and thank you.